Okay, that works. I'm currently struggling to find my screen in the share option, so we might not have slides this time. I'm sorry, I'm still figuring out this new computer.
It's all good.
Linux.
Which one did you get?
Framework 13 with uh, the old AMD chip, but still
Did you see the Pro that came out? Like, or
did.
well, that's gonna be out like in what, a year or something. But it looks that actually I piqued my interest again because I was like, oh, this 20 hours battery life, that's what I was looking for. And Linux
Hmm.
pre-installed. It looks super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, well, I'm most impressed that they have it all backwards compatible with the one that I have. So you can swap out the card or put the touch screen in this one or whatever. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's neat. I'm probably gonna upgrade mine. I'm actually most interested in the aluminum shell
Mm,
because I haven't had a problem with battery life because I've always just carried a power brick around with me anyway. But
mm.
but having a nicer shell would be pretty
Do
cool.
do you have the 13 too, Alex?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Battery life was like I got the first edition and that was kind of the killer, especially because the
Right.
M1 came out at the same time and it was just not comparable. Like the first night I closed the lid of the framework and next morning battery was like 50% gone.
Ouch.
So I think
Yeah.
I think that definitely has improved. So I totally revisit this as my next computer, especially the Pro looks super interesting.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I'm slowly trying to get my whole family onto them because then I can maintain their computers. I mean, I have to anyway, but at least this way it would be a pleasant experience.
We'll do our usual getting started about 5 minutes after. There's quite a few people still joining.
Hmm.
Well, even though I can't share my slides yet because I haven't figured out this whole Linux thing, I at least know the flow because I can see my slides. You just can't see my slides. Yeah, it's very strange. It would let me share my music player, but not the browser. Actually,
Oh,
what
that's really weird.
happens? I open up another browser and open up the same thing. Will it see it now?
Uh, are you running? What are you running, Nix?
Yeah.
Okay, so something that can happen is that the desktop portal thing
Hmm.
doesn't get started. Like it starts too early to pick up some environment variables that allow forwarding to a browser. So sometimes
Oh,
if you just
interesting. Okay.
restart that server, um, hang on, let me find the
Well,
particular.
do you see the slides now?
Yes. So
Yeah, I think
nice.
it just didn't see Zen for some reason, but is seeing Chromium. So unfortunately, I've got the horrible Chromium bar at the top for like,
Yeah,
but
we'll
it's
cope.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, if you could send me that one liner after, that'd be helpful.
I will find it and send it to you.
Overall, I've been pretty impressed with how this thing does on, like, I can still get video off wirelessly off my phone and stuff, which is pretty cool. So,
Yeah,
iPhone.
yeah, they've gone pretty good compared to the bad old days.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get started. It is 5 after, and we want to dive in with our relatively full schedule today. So, thank you for coming to the April Automerge community call. Um, we have a few speakers this time around. So, here's our agenda. We're going to uh, just have a little bit of intro and overview, basically this now. Alex will give you some core library updates. I can tell you how things are going, putting seduction into production. Then we have two presentations. We have Team Type, who built a collaborative code editor, almost like a LSP for text editing, on top of Automerge. And then David is going to show us his looking first login system. And then, as usual, our discussion, open discussion, and then wrap up and let you know where to find us next time. So, Alex, do you want to let us know how things are going with the libraries?
Sure. Let me just go through the same. Oh gosh. So Zoom likes to hide itself. There we go. Uh, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your entire
Okay.
screen.
Okay, that's fine. That's good. Um, right. So not too much on the agenda this month. There are two things I think are interesting. Um, read-only sync, and then also I've just pushed over the weekend a bunch of updates to the Java bindings, which I'll go through, which might be interesting for people writing Android apps. So yeah, read-only sync. So this is what it looks like. The Automerge sync protocol at the moment is you create this sync state thing, and then you send and receive messages by calling generate sync message or receive sync message. And there's no way at the moment of saying, I don't want to actually incorporate changes from the other end. I just want to send them changes. And so that's what I've added here. So you can now pass this read-only true flag to the init sync state. And then what will happen is the sync protocol works just as normal, but the other end, um, if it sends us changes, we'll ignore them. And if they're running a more recent version of the library, this is backwards compatible, but if they're running a more recent version of the library, they'll also not send us their changes. Because it's a pointless waste of effort them sending changes that we're not going to incorporate. And you can flip this if you want. So if you want to change your mind halfway through the sync, like you want to say, actually, I'm upgrading this to read only or downgrading to write or downgrading it, you can just set this flag, and the next time you call generate sync message, it'll incorporate that information. So this should mean that you can do things like authenticate a WebSocket and then decide whether they have read-only access to a particular document. I'm going to be feeding this through to the Automerge repo share config APIs. So you'll be able to do it on a per peer basis with Automerge repo. And I haven't released the Rust version of this yet. I'm going to push that later today, but the Rust library will be there as well. And then I should feed it through to Samod fairly soon. Just makes it easier to implement the very common flow of wanting to only allow people to read a document without having to implement a bunch of complicated workarounds like creating a separate document for readers to use. Cool. And then the other thing I've been working on is the Java Automerge repo bindings. So Automerge Java has existed for a while. And it's always been a binding to the core Automerge library that allows you to create Automerge documents, save them, do the sync protocol, that kind of thing. But it hasn't integrated with the Automerge repo stuff that we've built around Automerge in the JavaScript world. So the WebSocket transport protocol, the idea of an Automerge URL, the storage format, all that kind of stuff. And so I have implemented that. There's not a lot of documentation here just yet, but let me find you. What do I call it? Here we go. So this is my main motivation for doing this was to be able to use it in Android apps. So this is a little demo Android app. So I've also built a bunch of, well, I'll show you if you are at all familiar with the build system here, this is depending here on Gradle is depending on the Automerge libraries. So we've got the core Automerge library, this Android native library, which brings in a pre-built JNI bindings for the library. You need this on Android, but elsewhere you don't. And then this Kotlin extensions library for Automerge repo that just has a couple of nice things in it, which I'll show you in a second. These are all distributed they're all on Maven Central, so you can install them anywhere you're expecting to run Java. And here's an example of what it looks like. So this is a little app written in Kotlin. And this is the interface here. So there's a repo, which is very similar to JavaScript, type of the same name. We create a repo here, which we load out of this will load a few things out of storage, but mostly not do much. And then here we do this repo connect to a WebSocket endpoint. And this does actually have some reconnect logic in there, similar to the way that network adapters work in JavaScript. But then here you can see we go look up this URL, wait for it to actually be await using Kotlin's await stuff. And then the niceties I've observed added here is Kotlin coroutines. So this observe will get updated anytime the document changes. And we grab the string out of the document using this get string thing. So what this is ultimately saying is anytime the title changes, update the title on this view model, which will then feed through to the compose UI that Android expects. So the nice Kotlin thing here is the coroutine extensions. And you can see that here as well. We do this on anytime the tasks change, we read the tasks and then update the tasks UI. And then add task has this similar thing where we can do, and within a handle, we can say, okay, I want to change this handle and then start a transaction, do a bunch of stuff to it. Yeah. Other than that, it should be pretty familiar from the JavaScript API. I'm planning on adding a bunch of extra documentation to it, but this stuff is on Maven Central now. You can play with it. That's it. That's the updates for this week.
And there's a raised hand, Alex.
Oh, hi. Yes, go away. Go ahead. Not go away. Sorry.
Yeah, towards the read-only thing, is it in Rust as well?
Yes, I'm planning to. I'll push the release of that today, but the Rust crate will have it in as well.
Okay, and is it something that you can assume to be kind of secure in some ways, or could there be something going wrong? Like if I want to present in a way that nobody can modify my system?
It should be secure. If you say that if you run sync read only, then we definitely won't incorporate changes from the other end.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I mean
Cool.
it's a very limited form of security, right? Like it's just saying I'm not going to listen to anything you're saying. So if for example you had another connection to someone else that was read write, and the person that you don't want to listen to sends changes to them first, and then those changes come to you, we're not going to know anything about that. It's purely a piece of connection state. It's kind of convenient, but it's not as robust as Keyhive would be.
Makes sense.
Cool. Anything else? Nice. And I shall stop sharing now.
Awesome. So next up, I mean, I technically have a title slide for this, but why go through the whole finding the right window to share dance? Team type. Please take it away.
Yes, I will click the correct buttons now. Hi, nice to be here. I'm here with Moritz by invitation of Alex to demo team type. Can you see the screen?
We can.
Nice. So this is a project we've been working on for like a bit over 2 years now, I think. And it's inspired by also other systems that allow you to collaboratively edit text, like HedgeDoc, for example, right, where you can edit text in the web. But we wanted to have a system that allows you to work on local files and like full directories of local files, basically. And I think the easiest way to demonstrate how that feels like is just to demo it. So I brought here at the left an empty directory. And we can run team type share here, which will like ask me briefly if I really want to share this for the first time. And if I say yes, it outputs this join code. We basically cobbled together a bunch of Rust libraries here, and this is the magic wormhole library that like now allows Moritz to join this share. And now we are in this directory together. And as soon as like one person creates a file, it gets transmitted to the other side. And yeah, our directory content state is tracked in Automerge as just as a simple key value pair where the keys are the file names and the values are Automerge text documents. And yeah, Moritz is in hello Automerge. Let's see here. Just one more file. Hi. Oh. So yeah, we can edit here together. And the way this works is that we have plugins in the text editors that are supported. So our NeoVim in this case, for example, talks to the daemon, which I'm running on the left. And yeah, basically talks a simple protocol that is inspired a bit by LSP, but much simpler, and like tells it the edits we made and gets it the edits back. It also like shows the cursor positions as we saw from Moritz. Also, like if we make a selection or so in a line, it will show that in the plugins. And we have some like little special features, like sometimes we are working on a code base, right? Like on team type itself, and then like Moritz is working somewhere else in another file, and I just want to go there. Then we have the team type jump to cursor command in the plugin, which you can like bind to something like "J" or so, and that like jumps to where Moritz is right now. So I found him in just one more file in this line, and then we can look at what we are working on together. There's also a follow mode. And yeah, this is editor agnostic. So we also have a VS Code plugin for VS Codium. And if I open Hello Automerge there, let's see. We also get the same synchronization and an update apparently. And yeah, this should be shared to the other side as well. And that's most of the features we have, but in practice, it's a really nice way for working together for us, for we're doing lots of pair programming this way. And we're trying to like make it as smooth of an experience as we can. Maybe teaching could be nice with a read-only variant, right? Yes, where we could just allow someone to watch what we're doing. Maybe, yeah, I would be excited to build that in. And yeah, we've been lucky to get some open source funding over the last 2 years. In Germany, we have the prototype fund, which like once every year basically selects a couple of projects and gives them money for 6 months. So we could work on this a bit. Also the NNet Foundation in the Netherlands. And yeah, I think that's what we wanted to demo. Would be curious about your questions.
Yeah. I'll just jump in with one because I think there's something that I know about this that I think would be interesting to elaborate, which is I think the LSP architecture idea is interesting. Be cool if you could describe that in a bit more detail, like what this daemon is doing, how the editor plugins work.
Yes. So we came up with a simple protocol I can show to you, which defines 4 message types, basically, that the editors have to speak. It's here in the Writing New Editor Development Guide. And once the editor opens a file, it will start a connection to the daemon, basically, and send it an open message with the URI of the file. And the daemon will acknowledge that, okay, this is a file that I'm currently in control of and that we can share with some other peer. And the editor can close it again. And then, yeah, we have edit messages that also like contain the editor URI and a revision number. And then a delta, basically, which like describes the change and that we made in the editor. And yeah, this revision number, it's a bit of an interesting choice because we're not only using like Automerge CRDTs between the peers, but between the daemon and the editor, we are actually speaking an OT style protocol, just because we don't like, sometimes our design aim is to make it as easy as we can to write new plugins, right? And we don't necessarily, like from the beginning at least, we wanted not having to implement like needing Automerge libraries in the plugin itself, but just a simple OT style thing, which you can like say, I'm like my edit belongs on top of this other edit that the daemon had. Yeah. And the 4th method type is for cursors and selections, basically. And as soon as any software implements this interface, basically they can like participate in the system and connect to the local daemon. Yeah.
So are the selections that you were talking about represented as as a cursor message with some kind of metadata on the range or something that tells you this is a cursor?
They are always either cursors when the range is empty, basically, then it's like a range without an extent, or or it's a range. We just decided to represent that with a single message for simplicity. And the ranges is an array also, so we use that for things like multi-cursor features, or if in Vim you make a block selection, for example, we take each line of that block as a single selection and send that over, and the other set can display that. Yeah. One emacs I already see in the chat. Yeah. Sorry, that's not there yet. But it's been like, I think today we decided that we want to like prioritize that a little bit because we've had some requests for it. Yes. Oh yeah, Moritz also explained it as well. Yeah,
it's really cool.
The virtual text chain that you saw in New Vim, is that also answered already? I think the virtual text is from the plugin as well. Yeah, that can be useful to show the name of the person that's editing. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe just to quickly summarize it if it wasn't very clear, but I guess most of the heavy lifting is done by Automerge in terms of synchronization. So when we selected the CRDT library, we were like deciding, okay, which of the number of Rust libraries do we want to use, and we decided to choose Automerge mainly because of the community as well. Like that was a strong argument. So also kudos to Alex for supporting us on this, figuring out how to use Automerge actually and stuff. Very responsive.
I love what you're doing. It's great. Go ahead, Aris.
Yeah, so that's amazing. I really like the demo. So you are combining it with Git, as far as I understand. Like that like the use case you have in mind is, I have let's say my files, either code or nodes like in Obsidian, tracked with Git, and then you use this for the live collaboration scenario, right? The real time, let's say.
Yeah, in a way, it's a good complement to Git, where team type can be used for the real time sync and Git for the longer term history or so. We actually, like last year, we tried to implement our own features like show me the diff to an earlier version or so inside of team type. But we quickly noticed that ourselves, we are perfectly happy with just using Git's tooling with that, which like we already know how to use and which seemed very powerful. So yeah.
Okay, and then you resolve like for the Automerge, let's say real time collaborative editing to work. I guess you resolve things in memory, right? You're not using any persistent, let's say, Automerge repo for this, right?
So if conflicts arise or something, we do resolve that in memory. Like, yeah, if two sites create the same file, like independently or so,
we're using one Automerge document, if that helps for understanding. Like I think we discussed it with Alex the other day, that we don't have any racing conditions between documents or something like that.
Okay, great. And what about the peer-to-peer network? Like, is there? I mean, are you leveraging a peer-to-peer network to actually like connect with other devices, or does this work right now with the central server?
We're using the IRO library. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
It's a nice Rust P2P library, and that's just one other thing we cobbled in there basically to give us a nice experience. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. I mean, like I'm building something for rich text, like prose editing, and I'm really like I do plan to implement a scenario like that. So, I mean, maybe that's maybe I could actually use what you're building for the real time sync, but I guess I'll have to bind it like you're binding with other editors. I'll have to bind it with the editor I'm building. I guess that's the effort.
That would be the idea, yeah. And for rich text, yeah, we sometimes do get that request to also support it from users. So far, we always thought, we're kind of like limiting the scope of team type to plain text only. But yeah, it's good to know that you would be interested in that.
Yeah, I would be. I mean, the challenge I see here is that I guess you're not using the rich text schema mechanics from Automerge, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that's probably the challenge here. But yeah, I mean, it's great that you have lots of the ground covered. Yeah, amazing.
I think you'd probably end up having to I think you'd probably end up having a different protocol that's similar but has a different kind of edit message, because you're effectively going to end up having to implement like an OT model for rich text, which is just like, it would be hard to shoehorn that into a plain text model or vice versa. And I don't know if once you've done that, the shared infrastructure is much help. Like you're probably better off like being inspired by the project and building a similar different thing. Unless someone can figure out a general like edit language that happens to encompass both rich text and code editing, but so far such a thing seems to be pretty elusive.
Yeah, and even for inspiration, advice, I'll probably reach out. Yeah, that was great to see.
Please do, yeah.
Any more? Nice.
All right. Well, David, you're up.
Excellent. I'm not a distraught nuclear scientist today, but I am going to share my screen. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so back in Halloween, I demoed the Feathers Automerge integration. So just as a, how do I hide the, oh my, I don't use Zoom that much. How do I hide the Zoom toolbar? Because it's right up in the way. Okay, never mind. I've been working for the last like 12 years on a Feathers JS, which is a full stack real-time framework. So it's traditionally server client side. It works on Node and the newest version, which is going to be my final one, also on all the other platforms. And it basically just lets you build like service-based endpoints for REST APIs and real time. And it works on like all the web standard platforms as well. And in October, I demoed the Automerge service integration. So instead of creating a Node server or a Dino or Cloudflare worker, you actually just create a client-side app with Feathers, and you have Automerge in there, and you can basically create, read, update, delete data, and everybody who's connected to the same Automerge document is going to get real-time updates. So that was a really fun project. There's a company in France that's using it for the nuclear safety agency there to do offline in the field observations that then sync back to the server. So it was a really fun project to see and work in real time as well. And one of the things with Feathers was, because it was traditionally client server side, it came with authentication system that was username, password, and OAuth based. And as with many things open source, everybody wanted it secure, well maintained, and obviously free. And it was kind of painful, especially now in the last little while. The only thing I've heard from about Feathers was Claude finding some issue in OAuth or something, and then I tell Claude to fix it. So it's been like very interesting because some of those issues were actually legit. But for the last year and a half, we have been thinking about how can we create this traditional Auth0 style login flow and login experience for developers, but still have like sneak in some local first friendly technology like public-private keys and DIDs, all the things that we kind of need in order to create like a more local first and offline friendly experience. And what we been working on during that time is now called Talon. It was called Feathers Auth before, but we changed the name. I think Talon works better. And it's essentially just this login widget that lets you get sorry, the meeting room was closed. That lets you get a login widget for your website, and that lets you log in with Google or other OAuth providers or send an email code. You get, this is how your email looks like. And you can also use AppProto, which I actually might show. So that was the basic idea. And internally, it creates like a local public-private key and a DID for every device. And then it links that to the application through the email login code. So very kind of local first focused, but you still have this kind of like traditional login experience there. On the website, I like this as the demo. You can actually mess with your widget. And when you like it, I wanted to get the actual Automerge colors, but I'm not going to start color pickering around. Let's go with this. You can actually create your app right away. And then it does a dramatic pause. And this, I have a couple of apps already. You'd have to sign in if you wanted to use that. And as you can see, this is my app. It got a DID, so every app gets a DID, every user in the system gets a DID, and every organization that you create gets a DID as well. And this is the theme editor. We're actually pretty happy with it. I'm quickly just going to upload the Automerge logo just for completion's sake. And I am going to also enable AppProto login because I wanted to show that one. So now this, oh, come on. This is how our page is going to look like with the Automerge logo, and you either type in your AppProto like Luecke handle or your email, and that's basically our widget. And how you integrate it looks like this. I'm going to create this HTML page, not this one. In my quick demo, create this index.html, and we load this login component. This is a web component, and you just pass it your app DID. It's public key, right? So there's no secrets or anything like that. And then you just say, give me the login element, get the user, which will show our login widget. And once you're logged in, it just says, hello, user.email. So if I run this with an HTTP server, and open a private window, because I always have to make sure like to not have some old data, you see our login widget. I'm going to log in with Luecke now because That's kind of like a new thing that I wanted to show. We'll look at the email in a second. But if I log in with Blue Sky, on the Commons computer, this is running here at ZSpace on Boris's desk. So this is the fun thing about the app protocol, right? That you can run your data server wherever. I authorize this, and I'm logged into the website. Cool. So why am I talking about this for on the Automerge call? Well, one of the things that I always found difficult with Automerge is how do you share and get document URLs, right? You usually like stick them in the URL, and if somebody gets a hold of your URL, anybody can look at it and change it. So what we ended up doing is we are in your token, which is self-verifying and works offline too for the duration of the validity. There's also an Automerge document in there that you can just write to if there's a valid user. So that's basically what, let's quickly look at, sorry, have too many windows. Not too many tabs, just too many windows. Okay, so we'll see here now that I logged in, right? This is an existing user that I already logged in with. And the app with Automerge that I wanted to show. So let's look at this again, right? We get the user from this, and then we have the message here. So that's the basic one. The Automerge specific one looks like this. It's actually very simple, similar. That's why I wanted to go here. I gotta copy my DID back in here. It's very similar. I have my component with the app ID. There's the heading with the message, and then I just make like a pre-code section with the Automerge document data. And then we basically just say like, get our user like we did before, but then there is an Automerge package that you can use, and you'll get basically an Automerge document with your application data. This is what I set as my application data. I just wanted to see who is logged in, right? So do the same thing, and you probably all know this. It's like listen to changes, update the pre, and when the document is loaded, then we'll just add the user ID, which is the DID, and the email. You don't have to stick the email in there. Maybe you don't want everybody to see that. We have a chat demo that has just an alias for your email, but I wanted to just show how this kind of looks like. So if I run this, local first conf, yes, I will be there. I'm excited, but we just need to go to localhost. So I'm gonna just try email code this time, which should show up here. So this is how the login email looks like. I think they turned out really nice with all the info that we need and our login code. And I had some problems with Automerge, like not loading the first time. But as you can see, I just added like my user key here. And I think the best way for me to try, so here's a weird thing. If I open a new private window, it still has all my login data in there, and I've never understood why, because I would expect a private window to always be a clean slate. But it's fine. We'll just quickly go into my personal browser and log in from there, as long as this is not okay. So I log in with Blue Sky. And there's my second user, and I think it updated in the other as well. So this is basically the document contents, right? We know Automerge is real time. We get all this information. It's still always exciting and funny and fun to show. And yeah, this is basically the kind of like integration that I wanted to show there. One of the things that I'd like to do going forward is to have a user document and an application level document that you get when you log in. And then we can even use it for small things like user settings, right? What's your preferred color palette or personal notes and things like that that sync across all devices and all browsers. But what I liked about this demo and why I was like looking forward to doing this is basically this is an end-to-end kind of like real with login flow, like the traditional kind of way that people know how to use apps, and also especially developers, how things should work without any backend whatsoever, right? So we have a chat application here. That is like just one single Svelte component with the Automerge document and the login. It runs at chat.talent.codes. And it works offline, right? It's always been a really fun demo to do. But the important thing here is that this works for anybody who knows how to use Automerge. So you can just use your Automerge documents, but also have your user information right there. So yeah, that's what I quickly wanted to demo. It's been fun to put this together. And it works really well with Automerge, which is really nice.
This is really neat. This is really cool.
Thank you.
Can I ask? There's a couple of questions in my mind. The first one is how is the login flow actually working? Like, what's the guts of it?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So internally, what happens is it creates on device. So if you go in here, there's all my browsers that I logged in with. So for every browser, it creates a key pair with the web, like a non-exportable key pair with the Web Crypto API. Creates a DID, which gives you a DID, and then it says, "Hey, server, do you know this device or don't you?" And if it does, it basically just says, "Oh yes, I do," and this application just issues a self-signed, like self-verifying token, like a bearer token. Side note, specifically, I built this to eventually issue UCANs. So I've been poking like Brooke to be, hey, what's the best way to set this up in a way so that you can also get UCANs with this, which is definitely something that I want to do this year for fun. But right now, it's basically a self-verifying bearer token that has the user information and the Automerge document in its payload. Eventually, like I said, it should be UCANs and it should work with Keyhive and all of those things, which I'm actually looking forward to doing as well. So you get this self-verifying token, and that's basically what the Automerge sync server uses to verify if you're allowed to access the document. So it's like a super basic authentication right now, but we'll have some more interesting stuff coming there. And then on the server, so this works with any backend as well, right? So on the, let's say node, you basically can send that token to your backend API and then just create a verifier for your app ID on the server. And then you basically just say, verify my authorization header, and it gives you the same user object from the token. So we basically wanted to have this flow that works local first friendly, but also has the traditional thing that developers kind of knew, right? Kind of like sneak in all this cool local first tech, but have it be a flow that people already know through Auth0 and all of those things. There's still some advantages, right? Because there's a public key. The DID is public, so you don't have any secrets that you need to pass around. The only way this is like, the only thing that you have to do is basically, oh, I can't scroll down. Whoops. Sorry, I broke it forever. This is, of course, happens when I do demos. So what you have to do is add the basically refer URLs to the configuration, and then you get that's like if you deploy it and it's checking the referrer to make sure that the origin is correct. Did that answer all of like your questions on how the flow works?
That was the first that makes sense on the first one. So
Okay.
let me just say it back to make sure I'm understanding correctly. You're creating some kind of local challenge, and then
Yeah.
depending on the auth mechanism, a server that you set up is authenticating that challenge. Is that correct? And then once you've done that, you've got a thing that you can use until it expires to authenticate yourself with anyone in question.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Nice. And then yeah, the other thing was, where is the document content being stored? But I'm understanding from what you said that there's a sync server running somewhere. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we have it like, there's a sync server right now. Where is it? It's connecting somewhere, but yeah, and then that one right now is really just checking like that bearer token, but it's all kind of set up with the intention of using UCANs and Keyhive, right? I have to dive into that, but I wanted to at least show this because it was like fun to put together, and it works really well. And there's an MCP server for the integration for like anybody who's not writing code anymore, which is probably everybody, which does basically the sign up and the login, and then everybody I've tried it with so far, you could one-shot the integration into their app. Like no matter if it was React or Node or Express or Cloudflare Worker, it just worked. Just because it's all pretty like concise and compact.
That's very slick.
Yeah, it was fun to put together. Thank you. Cool. That was everything I had to share. I will stop sharing my screen.
Amazing. And yeah, also interesting, the AppProto integration. PVH, Permission Switch, and I were at Atmosphere, the Blue Sky conference, developers conference that happened to be in Vancouver a couple of weeks ago now, I guess. And there were quite a few people there that were excited about local first and Automerge, which is surprising, I guess, for something that's very much, online and, big data, social media, fire hose, right? But yeah, people wanted to do things with, private data and, using that to tear off, little side conversations with Automerge documents and using, basically the login system from Blue Sky at AppProto for that.
That's exactly what I was thinking about here too. That was a proposal I sent in, but there's too much good stuff to use this, like use Automerge for AppProto private data right now, right? Because it's already possible, right, at this point in time. And what I really like about the AppProto kind of the combination was you could use the lexicon schema definitions that are public to define your private data structures. So as long as another app has access to your Automerge document, you can build apps on top of your, you can have them interoperable, right? So I think there's a lot of potential there.
Very cool.
Yeah. Damn, some good demos today.
Yeah.
This has been exciting, cool. Any more?
Keyhive. I forgot last month, or was it last month, Brooke, you said to ping you to get into a beta, and I never did because there was a lot going on. I would love to just try the latest, and yeah, I know things are always moving fast, and I have that problem of I'm going to try the thing, and you're like, David, you're using a version that's 1 year old and 30 versions behind. So I'd love to try the latest and greatest, and yeah, really would. I'm excited to start working on the UCAN issuing for this.
Awesome. Yeah. So the alpha really is for the sync system that underlies Keyhive called Subduction. I'll add you to the channel after the call if anybody else also wants to be in there. We're at this point mostly doing performance tuning. So the version of it that I have deployed has been up for about a month. I don't think it's ever gone over 30% CPU on just a DigitalOcean worker, DigitalOcean instance. And so it seems like to be running pretty flat and stable. It does. I mean, there are bugs. There are definitely bugs. And there's some stuff we're figuring out. I think mainly in the JS integration. This is all Rust written with WASM. And so it's just actually debugging that right before this call. We seem to have an n squared term when we're doing things with IndexedDB storage. I don't know. So, but very happy to have people kick the tires on it.
Yes, excellent. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. We have 9 minutes left in this time slot. Is there anything else people would like to chat about, or should we give you the time back?
I do have one question. To the previous discussion, I'm planning to work on this real-time collaborative scenario soon. And a blocker for me is the update spans API performance right now. I think it's from back when update spans started to support marks. I think it got much slower. I was working on a reproduction of that today. Actually, I may send you a message later, Alex. Yeah, my question is, are there plans to work on it, or if it's easy for a new contributor to work on this part? I'm not sure. I mean, because I don't know Rust, but my question is whether there are plans to work on this API soon.
So a couple things. One is if you've got a reproduction that's like a concise reproduction of the performance problem, then definitely send it to me because I remember looking at the previous problem you had and I couldn't narrow it down from the whole application to the specific interaction with Automerge. But if you've got something that like is very specifically like this interaction pattern is slow, then ping it my way because yeah, we can definitely look at that. It might be that update spans. So update spans for people who aren't familiar with the API, you give it is a rich text update API. You give it a bunch of rich text metadata and data, and then it diffs that with the existing rich text and figures out the minimal set of updates to do. And it's doing a fair amount of work because it's doing a Myers diff for every. It's doing a lot of work that we can make pretty fast, but it might be prohibitively slow to do it within a frame on large amounts of text. So the other angle that I'm taking is I've been working on a different way of expressing the prose mirror bindings using a formalism called bypasses. Let me just find which has been pretty successful so far. So what that means is, let me just pop that in here. That's the paper that I'm basing this thing on. But what it means is that it became easier to write the logic that does the reconciliation between Automerge and whatever your rich text format is, so that you don't need to do this diff-based thing. Because the reason that the update spans approach exists is because it's just really hard to correctly figure out how to map from the tree structures in Prose Mirror to the flat list of formatting spans and block markers in Rust. But if you can actually figure out the idea I'm going with is if we can actually figure out the precise updates you need to make, then we don't need to do update spans at all, and we can keep the thing fast and local in terms of the edits that you're making, so the performance of your edits doesn't change regardless of how big the document is.
So to understand it right, so are we going to let's say bypass the spans API? Because for me, like the spans API is helpful because it lets me work with these JSON representations of the Automerge document, and it's high level, and that's what I like it about. That's what I like about it.
There's a couple of things that go like, yes, if I can see a specific performance problem and fix it, then obviously that's what I want to do. But it might not be possible to get performance on a large set of spans down to good enough for your use case. So I'm trying to come up with nice ways of expressing. Like the point of this bypasses paper is right now I'm using it in the prose mirror bindings. I'm hoping that it's produces a library that's general enough that I can expose it as a good API for mapping to and from rich text generally. But it's a ways off of that yet. Right now, it's kind of an experiment. But I would hope to be able to have something that is as easy to work with as the spans API, but much more performant. And the other thing is that the spans API loses information in the worst case because you are diffing, so you don't get like the precise edits that occur. And so this other approach of precisely targeting the edits means that you actually would get better merge behavior as well.
Okay, cool. I'll check this out. The also the paper that you sent. So yeah, let's we'll keep the discussion flowing on this. I'll send you what I have in the repro, and we'll take it from there. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah. No, thank you. I love a good reproduction.
All right. Well, with the last 3 minutes remaining, I'm just going to wrap it up then. Thank you everyone for coming to this month. You can find us next month as usual at Luma/Automerge. And if people had more questions or want to keep the chat going, we're of course also in the Discord, where I'll be adding a few of you to this introduction alpha as well. Thank you all.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, goodbye.